Now, the second temptation is when Satana pulled Yeshua to the top of the temple, to the edge, to the brink of the temple, the pinnacle of the temple, and said essentially, throw yourself down onto these rocks and walk away if you're really the Son of God. Now, that word temple in Aramaic, when Yeshua would talk about his temple, what was he usually talking about? He was talking about his body temple. That word in Aramaic is haikla. Hai literally means life, energy, save. Like if you pull someone out of the front of a moving vehicle, you save their life. What are you actually doing? You are preserving the life that is within them, the energy that is within them. So that word chaya means life. It means energy. And that la sound at the end basically means an assemblage of, a gathering of, a spin point. Let's remember, there's 7 churches in Revelation, 7 spin points of energy that need to be cleansed. Hello, McFly. And when we're seeing temple, what Yeshua would refer to as his body temple, it literally means an assemblage of energy. Satana, that divided state of being, through the all-embracing breath of God, Rucha Dekudsho, our own conscious breath, took Yeshua to the pinnacle, to the outer reaches, the highest expansions, the most wide open spaces of his body temple. Those places that he's not normally going into, at the far reaches of the greatest expansion of who he is, and takes him into that temple and says, now look, here's what I want you to do. I want you to go down into the depths of your own being, down into those hard, shadowy rocks of your own consciousness. If you're really the Son of God, you're really the living one, take yourself down into those darkest, deepest, shadowy spaces of your being, down into your own personal desert, and get up and walk away. Now, that's not the easiest thing to do. Those darker spaces of our being are those places that we're not used to looking at. Yet, that's what we are identifying with in most cases. So what happens is we go into these places and we're looking at these spaces inside of ourselves that we're not used to looking at. And when the light of God, when that light moves into our being, that light of God is meant to burn off those spaces within our own consciousness that are basically creating shadows. If you look at the light of the sun and liken it to the light of God, one thing that's interesting is, what does the light of the sun choose not to shine on? Absolutely nothing. The only place the sun cannot shine is when something is turned away from that light, or something is blocking that light. Now, interestingly, the word for conscious light in Aramaic is nuhra. It means it's a feminine light. The light of the sun would be called a masculine light, that light of God, which is a light that shines on everything regardless of no choice. Now, the light of the moon is unique in that it's reflective, and it's still the light of God, but it's reflecting that light of God back. Now, it's only those spaces that are turned into the light, those areas of the moon or whatever it is that the light of God, the light of the sun is shining on, that are a part of that light, that are in that light. Anything that's turned away to the other side, hence we get the term the dark side of the moon. Well, we have our own dark side. And where we're not looking at it, yet unconsciously identifying ourselves with it, that unconscious aspect of our being will literally run our life. And if you have those things where you're doing all of these affirmations and positives, trying to stay and trying to be the light, rather than actually being the light, which is it includes looking at all of those spaces that hurt, that are raw, that are vulnerable, that you haven't looked at. When you learn to embrace that, that's when we experience true wholeness. That's when we come to the realization of our own wholeness and our own holiness.